Hey everybody, hope you're doing well. I have got an exciting update. I mean, I am super pumped about this. If you recall from all my other videos, if you have a Jiabaile, right, my biggest complaint about Jiabaile is the fact that it has a rigid rear axle. There's no suspension at all. It has front suspension, but no rear suspension. But the electronics are great. And the bodies, well, they're nice, but they're not amazing like this. And so when I started looking at this Swoosh drift car, I fell in love with the way it looked. I'm gonna get these other two because this is just sick. It's a really nice body, and it's an actual clear window. It's not like a painted window like the Jiabaile. You can't see through this. This is just painted plastic. But with this, I've already got it dismantled. It's actually clear. See my finger back here? That's awesome. So this body is sick. The other awesome part is that it has full suspension, front and rear. And thanks to Automan, one of the guys on the 143 page, he said, look, it's actually a very similar chassis to the Jiabaile. And it is, I wouldn't say identical, but it's very similar. Because this car's Achilles heel, and Swoosh RC guys, come on, man. You spend a bunch of money on a really nice body. You spend a bunch of money designing really smooth chassis with four-wheel independent suspension, a fast motor, a lipo, and then you go screwing it all up by having cheap steering, which is just like, charge us more money. We'll be happy to pay $40-50 for the Servo. Anyway, so what I've learned from Automan is that the boards are very similar in nature in terms of placement of the on and USB. So I can, this is a Jiabaile gyro board, and this is the original green board off of this car. So you can literally place a Jiabaile gyro board, and this hole here goes over this right here, and it actually will connect. Like, it'll just go in exactly where it should. And check this out. If you look at the other side, it lines up perfectly, and I can use this from the Jiabaile to extend it so that you can reach the on button. So electronics problem solved. The next problem to solve for is the servo. This does not have a real servo. So we would take this motor out, take this gear out, and then what we're probably gonna have to do is we're gonna have to rig a system where we take this servo from the Jiabaile, put it in here, and I will have to Dremel out this area to create room. I'll either add something to this steering rack, or I'll just take this steering rack out of this car and put it in this car. So I'm really excited. I may do a video, a working session as I work through this today, or maybe I'll just put it all together and show you guys what it does. And I'm super excited because this thing looks awesome. And if I can use the electronics from a Jiabaile, then it'll have the best of both worlds. I'll have the electronics and control and gyro of a Jiabaile, and then the all-wheel suspension of this great chassis that the Swoosh RC folks have created. So $25 for this, $35 for a Jiabaile, you know, so you're talking $60. I will happily pay that all day long for a nice driving car that has full suspension and every single wheel is removable. Removable is great because you can then get the 3D printing community to start printing wheels for these And then there are guys out there that make tires, or you can use D-Nano tires to really affect the way this car will handle on a racetrack, RCP track. So stay tuned as I start to work on this. Maybe halfway I'll stop and show you kind of my progress and what I've done, and then maybe 2 or 3 clips later I'll have this running. Maybe I'll have it running today. Today is Friday, October the 10th. See you guys soon. So I'm gonna put the Jiabaile arm in the steering arm, but I noticed that they're not using bearings in this, and the Jiabaile uses bearings. So I'm gonna try to swap in the Jiabaile bearings or the whole Jiabaile drive shaft, front drive shaft. I'll keep you apprised of my progress. Okay, we're making some progress. This is the Swoosh. I gotta come up with a better name for this car. That's the Swoosh chassis. This is the Jiabaile. We're gonna move this servo over. We're gonna use the Jiabaile gear or shaft because that has ball bearings. We're gonna use the Jiabaile steering rack, and then I gotta use a Dremel to Dremel all this crap down so that the servo fits. And we're gonna take the servo, move it over. One nice thing is the Swoosh car has a much bigger battery. 200, well, not much bigger. It's 250 milliamp versus 200. It's a bigger battery, so that's a positive note. So we'll continue chipping away at this, and we'll show you guys kind of the finished product. I may actually use double-sided tape to put the servo in, because there's no place for the servo to fit cleanly, or hold it in place rather. Okay, stay tuned. All right, we made some really good progress. The servo is in. So it wasn't an easy task. I had to remove the little doohickey here that centers the steering from the bottom here. You can see it. Also, the servo was kind of wide. You can see in the Jiabaile chassis, it's cut out for the servo to fit properly. So I had to cut this out. It's probably not the smoothest job, but you could see it, it's cut out. I used one of this snip and then my Dremel. But it fits in there nicely. I did keep this front little area here, this section, right, to basically make sure the servo is like wedged in, though it doesn't, it's hard to do with one hand. I'm gonna kind of do some more cleanup here, but it's wedged in here behind the back here and this, so with a little double-sided tape underneath of it, it's not going anywhere. So once I get that in, then we're gonna get our I'm trying to film and do this at the same time. We're gonna get this is from the Jiabaile, goes here, right? And now all I need is a short little extension, which this should actually do the trick. This was what came out of the Jiabaile. And the reason I harvested the Jiabaile, it was already broken. I had already tried to do something to it and I messed it up. So I'm just using the board out of it in this car. And I'm gonna have basically the equivalent of a Jiabaile with a nicer body and rear suspension. It's pretty cool. Can't wait to have it in. And I'll center this servo, and it's kind of like cockeyed now, but I'll make sure that servo is straight before everything goes back in. Okay, the servo is in. Just use some double-sided tape to hold it in place after you dremeled out the hole for it. And oddly enough, this servo cover came out of the Jiabaile. Look at that, it fits perfect, and it'll bolt in right here. Check this out. So if I put this over, So it'll actually help hold it in place. Right there, it'll bolt in. I'm pretty sure it'll bolt in at least. Yeah, it looks like it almost lines up. Let's see. I'm gonna do this live on the air. Where's my, here it is, I got a screw. Let's check this out, see if it bolts in. Sure does. Now, it's lifting this up a little bit, so I gotta figure that out. Maybe I'll try to find a way to bolt it in here. The front, but it's at least helping hold it in place. All right, the rest is just gotta put the front back together and we should be good to go. All right, we got the front back on. I gotta tell you, getting the dog bones back into the shaft and the wheels and the tires, oh my God, I almost threw this thing against the wall. It's so annoying. But it's in. We got full working suspension front and rear. We have the Jiabaile board that's gonna go on. We have the servo that's in place, held together with some 3M tape. I did not use this cover. I took it off. Yeah, this cover? No, where is it? This cover. This cover, I took it off because I had to move the servo back and then the holes here didn't align perfectly, this one. So I could place it on top. Actually, it's not gonna fit. No, I can place it on top, but it's got nowhere to screw on to. Maybe I'll just kind of glue it in place or something, just to have some extra protection on top of the servo. But next thing is getting this plugged in, and we should be running. And I'll show you a running video. Okay. The point of this segment is to tell you about trial and error. I had everything in and it was just jammed up. The steering wouldn't turn and there was a few problems. So we're gonna have to reset this. The servo was too far forward. You see the button screw here? That was bumping into this. And what this is the original steering rack with this cut off from the Jiabaile, because this car doesn't come with one of these little U-shaped things. And so my first problem was this was rubbing up on this. Second problem was there's a channel in here that this runs in, and the top of this white part here was rubbing against the channel, so I had to Dremel, I would say like 1/4 of a millimeter off, just to free it up. So now it's nice and loose. And I may not put these 2 screws in here because it may be too tight, but I'll try it. And then I'm gonna set this servo back a little further, so we're gonna have to get a new piece of tape, but I'll be back. Unbelievable. It's running. A Jiabaile with independent suspension, front and back, courtesy of Swoosh RC chassis. It actually fits perfect. You can put the plug in here. You can use the Jiabaile little extender here. I do need to put like a little bit of a spacer between here so that this doesn't push up so much. One thing to be careful about is that the board will hit the suspension in the back. So you have to make sure when you do put the screws in. So the only 2 screws that I used were this one kind of in the middle here and this one, just to kind of hold it in place. But I only put them in about halfway, just to keep the board from moving around. You don't tighten them all the way down because the board will, it's kind of hard to see it, but the board will hit the suspension here. So if I push the board all the way down, it will prevent this wheel from moving. So the board has to be a little bit elevated, if you can see that. So that's my only tip there, but it works now. And it generally fits well. I'm happy to answer questions and lessons learned. It took about, give or take, about 2-3 hours of just going very slowly and like removing material for the servo to fit. And the most complicated part was taking the steering rack of the original car and taking this this piece right here and gluing it on. And I didn't use glue, I used epoxy. I wanted something strong, so I scuffed it real good and put that on there. Now, guaranteed, will it not break? Probably not. I probably will need a 3D printed part. The other thing to be concerned about, hold on, this it looks like it's kind of, so I'm gonna try to zoom in closer here. This part right here is where you're gonna have trouble. Where the steering rack fits into this, it's tight if you add something like this arm. So just, you may have to have some smoothing and dremeling. It took a few tries to get it to the point where it was smooth, but it's smooth now. So next test is me driving the car around on the drift tires, and then eventually I'll use the rubber tires. But I'm excited to have like also the cool body for the RX-7 on it. Well guys, the project is done. We have taken the best of the Jiabaile electronics, bearings, and steering rack and combined it with arguably one of the best looking bodies and chassis and best chassis out there. So these things have amazing bodies. The windows are clear. It's got really nice detail in terms of like picking the right style of wheel to match the car. It's just an all-around really nice package. And I guess to reiterate why I wanted to do this, I wanted the control of a Jiabaile with a better looking body that had full suspension, and now we have it. You guys saw throughout the video how I put this whole thing together, so I guess now there's nothing left but to test it. It's already turned on. You can kind of hear the gyro. Here, I'm going to turn the gyro all the way up so that you turn the gyro all the way up so you can see. But it's got an Achilles heel, so we figured out that this would have been a 10 out of 10, but I'd rate it like an 8 or an 8.5 out of 10, because I think it's going to be a great drifter, but I don't think it's going to be a great racer, and here's why. There is a problem from the factory in the way this is set up. The whole thing seems to be kind of shifted off this way. There's a lot more toe in on this side than this side. So if you set the trim perfectly straight, the car will kind of like veer off to one way. It'll want to kind of, if I have it upside down here, if it's driving on glass upside down, it will kind of go this way. So for drifting, it's easy. You just overcome it with trim and some gyro, and it drifts beautifully. It is so smooth, so beautiful. The suspension on all 4 legs are great, and the tires are really, really nice on this car. These are the tires that actually came with this one. So let's just give it a whirl and give it a test. Maybe they'll create a second generation of this car, and it will just be better. But for now, I just want to show you how it slides. Let me back this out a little bit, and forgive my kids. All right, let's see it. Let's give it a whirl. And I'm going to show you guys, like, I'm going to hold the remote so that you can see me kind of driving as well. I'm actually going to drive it with 0 gyro because it's the only 4-wheel drive car that I've seen that actually you can drive without a gyro. All the other ones are impossible to control. But when you give it a little bit of gyro, think of it like 1/3. It really comes to life. I'm gonna move these a little bit further apart. I'm sorry guys, I'm just not with it today. Usually I'm driving a lot better than this. I bet you this will drive really good on RCP too. I like these little cones that I got from HBX. I'm gonna go full speed now, and I'm gonna give it a little more gyro. Let's see if we can do a little bit faster sliding. These tires have, like I said, a little bit more grip than the super slick ones that come with the Jiabaile. So you're drifting a little bit faster, which I don't mind. I like the faster drift. And I think the extra grip will be really nice on the RCP. It'll act more like a rally car. There you have it, folks. The world's first hybrid Jiabaile and Swoosh RC. Well, maybe second, because I think Mr. Automan from the Facebook group has done this. I actually got the idea from him. Take care, folks.